with so many YouTube channels dedicated to making lists, you might wonder what I might have to offer. To that I say, wait and see. In a time of global panic and unparalleled paranoia, humanity is as helpless as ever. So how does one cope with one's own helplessness? By watching other people be helpless, of course. So allow me to introduce you to 10 horror movies that flew under a lot of radars and went relatively unappreciated. Movies true fans of horror might want to check out. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Number 10. I'm certain you've all seen The Fly. Bite is a movie that is a lot like The Fly, but instead of being accidentally fused with a fly, a girl gets infected by a being of eldritch origins. This slowly turns our protagonist into a grotesque monstrosity. Although both these movies revolve around insects, I must admit, they are quite different in many ways. Number 9. Ever heard of Charles Dexter Ward? No? Well, he's been acting strange lately, babbling on about incomprehensible forces while being hell-bent on turning himself immortal. So Dexter's wife, with the help of an private investigator, digs deep to find out what has drawn the kind, loving man into a psychopath with surreal tendencies, only to discover a great, unknown force from beyond that should have been hidden. Number 8. $1 million for anyone who spends a night in a haunted mansion? Count me in. Ghosts aren't real after all, right? The oblivious contenders of this competition of greed find themselves facing a threat far more unsettling than any spectre from the grave. A primordial terror that consumes without prejudice. Join them and witness the undescribable in House on Haunted Hill. Number 7. I was genuinely surprised to hear that so many people haven't seen The Blood Glacier. Inspired by John Carpenter's The Thing, this movie feels like a sequel to At the Mountains of Madness. This visually stunning horror movie is all about discovering what primordial horrors lurk beneath the very ground we walk upon. Number 6. Now, Baskin has been brought to the attention of the mainstream by found flicks, but I get the feeling not many people have seen this surreal tale of gratuitous madness. A cult captures a group of policemen and tortures them while trying to show them the truth of existence. Filled with unsettling imagery, we are left asking, was the cult right? Number 5. Raw is a movie about accepting one's differences and embracing what one cannot change, like cannibalism. It's extremely gruesome and it's visceral in its depiction of violence. It made me uncomfortable, but I am certain you will find it entertaining. Number 4. Thanks to movies like Train to Busan and Dawn of the Dead, zombies have their own genre of horror. But this movie is a subversion of that genre. Instead of providing an action-packed battle with the undead, this movie focuses on a half-human, half-zombie girl who was born with the virus yet remains conscious. The story is fascinating and filled with twists and turns, but ultimately it's an amazing movie from the zombie genre. Now, before we get to our top 3 recommendations, allow me to provide you with a few honorable mentions. Banshee Chapter. I would have definitely recommended it if there weren't so many cheap jump scares. Violence. Voyager. I would have included this entry in the list, but the whole animation style might turn a lot of people off, and it is very, how should I put it, it's less horror and more like visceral depictions of I don't even want to talk about it. If you are into that whole disturbingly grotesque stuff, you can check it out. Violence Voyager. Okay. And another entry I did not include was Gyo Tokyo Fish Attack. This movie isn't as good as Junji Ito's original manga, but still, this movie isn't bad at all. I mean, I should probably make a video about it. But look, I didn't include it because it's not as good as the manga, which is one of the most amazing mangas I have ever read. Now with that out of the way, number 3. There are tons of great horror anime, but this time I bring you The Island of Giant Insects. If you want to watch a funnier version of this, just watch the dub. The title describes everything you need to know. It's a bizarre thrill ride with comedy to perfectly complement its weird story. Number 2. I'm going to be honest with you. This one took me by surprise. A couple on a trailer stops near a farm. The farmer of the farm asks them to leave multiple times. Even though they decided to ignore his warning, at the middle of the night, the farmer comes screaming and covered with blood. The couple decides to investigate and discovers a horror that might cause the end of all life on earth. All of the entries of this list, like some of the most amazing horror movies I have ever seen. Well, technically there are a lot more, but these are like beyond underrated. That's why I decided to make this list, okay? But now let me introduce you to what I find the most underrated horror movie of all time, I guess. Number 1. Whisperer in the Darkness. This movie turned people away due to its not so great special effects and its black and white colors. But ultimately, this is quite a cinematic achievement. Although a low budget project it may be, but the story is truly mind-boggling. But that is to be expected of the great H.P. Lovecraft. Yes, this movie is an adaptation of the novella of the same name. Even though a few effects in this movie are not very good, they are few and far between. Meanwhile, the true unsettling nightmarish scenes outweigh the clunky few. The story is about a skeptical scientist who decides to look into the strange phenomena that takes place in a countryside farm. But to his surprise, he has stepped into a cosmic conspiracy from which he can never escape. So, what do you think? Do you like my suggestions? Leave a like, consider pressing the subscribe button, because I am on a journey to reveal what lies beyond what people perceive as reality. And you can join that journey as well. All you have to do is click the subscribe button and stick around.